morning, everyone. Paul Ruppel here with Fox29.com. You're watching News Now. This is our live platform. We start after Good Day in the morning around 10 a.m. to bring you some of our stories from this morning and live looks around the area and elsewhere in the world, wherever there's news happening. Thank you for joining us. Today we are watching, there is a out at the scene of the duck boats, the duck boat that sank in Branson, Missouri. Crews are currently working to bring the duck boat to the surface. Let's take a live look at that. So some of the new developments in this story that are occurring this morning, that crane is expected to lift the sunken vessel out of the water today. Federal investigators also hope a video recorder recovered from the boat can shed some light on the final moments before the tragedy that killed 17 people last week. Yesterday, the victims were honored during a memorial service at the College of Ozarks. Attendees included the city mayor along with family and friends of those affected by the incident. 31 people were on the boat when it sank. The National Transportation Safety Board says it will be on the scene for at least a week, and the investigation could take up to a year to complete. Unfortunately, in our area, we have had some incidents in the past, some of them deadly, with duck boat operations. I don't believe they operate anymore in our area, as a matter of fact. Here was on Good Day, Philadelphia this morning. Local attorney Robert Mongaluzzi was on to discuss some of the past incidents, some of which he's been involved with in court.
In 2010, I think it was July 7th, 2 people died after a boat slammed into a duck boat. It was a big barge slammed into the duck boat carrying tourists in the Delaware River, of course. Another tourist died after being struck by a duck boat as she walked into an intersection. This was over near 12th and Filbert, over by the convention center.
The company no longer operates in Philadelphia, so now some people are wondering, will this be the same outcome for Missouri? So here with us, we have some answers this morning. So we have so many questions about this. Is attorney Robert Mongaluzzi.
Good to see you, man.
Good morning. How are you?
Then remind everybody, you did represent.
We did. We represented the families of both of those duck boat disasters.
Okay.
What was your first thought then when you heard about what happened in Missouri?
That it happened again. And the outrage of this is that...
Well, look at this graphic. That's not a good business model. That many deaths since 99. What is it, 40? Over 40?
42 since 1999. And remember, there's only about 100 to 200 duck boats operating in the United States. So these are rates of death per mile that are tens of thousands of times higher than cars or regular boats.
Well, how is this company still in business? Now, remind me, these vessels are from World War II, right?
They are.
Landing craft.
They were landing craft so that we could put troops in them. They could come onto the beach and then drive up onto the beach. They then were converted to commercial tourism use. And then in 1999, the Miss Majestic went down and drowned 13 in Arkansas. And most importantly, the National Transportation Safety Board investigated that and said that the canopies that are on top of these duck boats trap people inside. They are dangerous. They're lethal. They should be removed. And the duck boat industry did nothing. And then we had the 2 deaths in Philadelphia. Same exact thing happened. Those 2 victims got trapped inside under the canopy. They didn't comply. They didn't change. And now we have this horrific tragedy in Branson.
One woman, would she lose 9 members of her family?
9 members of her family. How are they able to just not comply then? If this keeps happening, how are they able to just keep operating like this hasn't happened at all?
Why? Because of money. They are commercial tour enterprises that are in business for profit. This one in Branson was owned by Ripley's, believe it or not. Yeah. And they went out despite thunderstorm warnings. And they changed the route so that they could go out early, therefore trying to skirt the danger and putting those people at risk.
And now that we're hearing from some of the people who have survived from this, and they mentioned how they heard the captain of the boat, he was saying, hey, we have life vests, but don't worry, you won't need them. So they had life vests. It just seems interesting that they weren't able to put them on and to use them in this instance.
Well, think about this. You were basically inside a sinking coffin. You have plastic windows on the side. You have a canvas canopy overhead. You're now plummeting into deep water. You have tons of seawater pouring in through those windows as you are now in a panic stage trying to find a life preserver and get out.
But shouldn't they already been on or no?
Well, that's the problem with duck boats. If you put the life preserver on, it could pull you up into the canopy and drown you. That's what happened to 4 people. That's why the National Transportation Safety Board said, take the canopies off. Let these be like regular boats so you could wear your life preserver and therefore be able to be brought to the surface.
You've studied this duck boat thing. So there's not a law that says you have to have a life jacket on, was you?
There is not.
There isn't.
There is not. And this falls into the cracks between all the federal agencies because it's part boat and it is part truck.
Right.
And they're also devastatingly dangerous on the land. Remember, they have blind spots. That's why they ran down pedestrians here in Boston. And they have a spear-shaped bow, which is why in Seattle 5 people got killed when it hit a bus on the side.
From the steering wheel to the front, it's like 10 feet or something, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. These things are dangerous. Duck boats are death traps. They're sinking coffins. And anybody who's watching this, please do not go on them. You are putting your life and the lives of your children at risk.
People in Branson, they say it's good for tourism, that these things are good for tourism, because you can run around in the streets and then you go into the water.
This was owned by Ripley's. And my response to that question is, believe it or not, you don't promote tourism by slaughtering tourists.
Mm-hmm. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Well,
Was Attorney Robert Mongaluzzi with some strong reaction to the duck boat tragedy that occurred in Branson, Missouri, and recalling some of the cases he's handled here in the Philadelphia area, including some with fatalities. Again, we're watching a crane preparing to lift the sunken duck boat from the water in Branson, Missouri. We will stay here for a bit to see how the operation goes and keep an eye on what's happening. area, we will keep an eye on what's happening there in Branson, Missouri, as a crane works to lift the sunken duck boat that was part of the fatal accident last week to the surface. We're closer to home. Let's get you a little bit of information about something that just happened a little while ago. Skyfox was over the scene of a collapse that occurred, and this was in Hamilton Township, New Jersey. We'll show you some live video of that right now. Hamilton Police Division reported that a full structure collapsed at an occupied home on the 1800 block of South Broad Street. This happened a little before 7 a.m. this morning. Our Skyfox was over that a little while after that. We have some footage from the sky. We're told there were multiple people inside the house at the time of the collapse, and at least one person had been successfully freed. That was according to police news release at the time. We're hearing that there may have been subsequent rescues after that. Fire and rescue services were on the scene working to extricate additional victims. The freed resident was transported to a local hospital. The cause of the collapse is currently unknown and under investigation. Police say they'll be releasing more information as it becomes available. We're going to show you a little bit of the footage here from Skyfox. Amazing scene as police, rescuers, it looked like they might have had some dogs helping them search the pile of debris that had come down. Let's show you a little more footage. And chopper had swung around to show you the front of the street where the house was. Again, we're hearing there may have been additional rescues after that first person was freed. But we're waiting for a updated press release or additional information from crews at the scene. Again, this was on the 1800 block of South Broad Street in Hamilton Township, New Jersey. Looks like there was a billboard right alongside the structure that came down. Here's some close-up footage. And here's a little more of what Skyfox showed at the scene before leaving the scene this morning. Again, this was a home collapse in Hamilton Township, New Jersey. This was Skyfox over the scene earlier this morning. Of course, the weather's been a big story all weekend. We had some storms move through the area, brought some drenching rain, some flood watches and warnings, some flooding that occurred. There were rescues in Chester County. Our Jenny Joyce was live this morning out at the scene of some of these incidents. Let's take you to a little bit of what she had to report this morning.
So behind me here, this is a branch of the Brandywine Creek, and it's already pretty high. Look, I know Chris is going to zoom in. You can not even walk across the footpath because it's underwater right now. And with more rain coming, flooding will likely be an issue here once once again. Last night, our crews were right around the corner from here in Kerr Park, where high water swallowed cars. People had to be rescued. Before the sun went down, though, the flooding began at the Whip Tavern. This is in West Marlboro Township near Coatesville. The water was strong enough to send a dumpster floating through the parking lot, and even a car lost its bearings and was whisked away. The owner screaming in the background. It seems that there is a chance of rain all day long, some of the strongest hitting the Downingtown area mid-afternoon and then later this evening into the overnight hours. So if you work second or third shift, be careful on your ride home tonight and try to avoid those small back roads if you can, because they're very dark and it is hard to see what you're up against. We'll send it back to you.
You'll see that Ultimate Doppler showing some of the rain that's been moving through our area for the last couple days. This is the last couple hours anyway. We were in a hole earlier this morning, but that's filled in now. We've got some rain occurring, looks like in parts of Philadelphia, some of the northern suburbs, and of course back down into Delaware. It's coming up through southern Delaware. Some heavier rain there. We do have some watches and warnings in place. Let's show you those. These are flood watches and flood warnings that are in place for parts of our area for heavy rain again today. Please be careful if you get rainfall of an inch or more. Make sure to watch for ponding on the roads, flooding in low-lying areas. Sue's been warning all morning about that. You heard Jenny's report about some flash flooding that occurred and some rescues that have occurred over the last couple days. Let's show you current temperatures. It's been bringing the temperatures down a little bit here, so although the humidity is back up now, so it's only 78 right now in Philadelphia, but the humidity is bringing things back up into the uncomfortable range, as it has been for the last day or two. Let's show you, or it was after it being pretty comfortable earlier to the end of last week and into the weekend, but we're back into the stickies right now. It feels like 81 in Philadelphia, even if the temperature is lower. Current conditions, we're in the 78 in Philadelphia. Gusts up to 18 miles an hour, it looks like. Let's show you some temperatures from across the Northeast. You can see it is warmer than it has been over yesterday. It's about 8. It feels about 8, or it is about 8 degrees hotter than it was yesterday. Satellite, we've got some rain over the area. You see that reflected on the satellite, and visibilities are being affected a bit. Here are those wind gusts coming in with the rainstorms as the rain comes in. Rain total is not so impressive yet today, but some areas did record an inch or more of rain over the last couple days. Yesterday's high in Philadelphia was 87, right around average. Here's a closer look at the radar that we're seeing. You can see some of that rain moving up back into the area. showed you some northeast temperatures. Let's take a look across the U.S. And here's that live look at Ultimate Doppler again. You can see that hole that we were in this morning that kept us dry for a while is now filling in. So we've got rain moving back into the area and flood watches and flood warnings in effect. Let's show you those one more time before we go away from weather. There you go. And here's that one last look at Ultimate Doppler radar. A reminder that we are keeping an eye on the crane operation in Branson, Missouri right now. They are seeking to pull the duck boat that sank there last week back to the surface. 17 people lost their lives, 17 of the 31 who were on that boat. You can see it looks like divers are going down to perhaps assist with hooking the crane up to the sunken vessel. We'll keep an eye on this and bring you what footage we can this morning. In the meantime, there's been some major saber rattling overnight between President Trump and the President of Iran. Both are leveling threats against one another, and as Doug Luzader reports from Washington, it comes as the administration is trying to increase its pressure campaign against the Iranian regime.
And there's an Iranian official who says this is just kind of psychological warfare on the part of the United States. But, you know, the question this morning is whether this latest spat brings the two countries closer to the real thing.
Iran is never shy about showing off its military might, but President Trump is responding in kind. He returned to the White House last night after a weekend in New Jersey, and just hours later came this on Twitter, all caps, to Iranian President Rouhani: never, ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer consequences, the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious. What prompted that? A threat from Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. The Tehran Times headline provided the translation. Mr. Trump, do not play with the lion's tail. Rouhani threatened the mother of all wars, a reaction to the Trump administration's threats of new economic sanctions, all part of a stepped-up campaign that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo spoke about just last night.
I have a message for the people of Iran. The United States hears you. The United States supports you. The United States is with you. When the United States sees the shoots of liberty pushing up through Iraqi soil, we pledge our solidarity.
And Pompeo was talking about increasing, or actually reimposing, sanctions against Iran's energy and banking sectors, and that's kind of a follow-up to the United States pulling out of that Iran nuclear deal that was negotiated by President Obama.
All right, let's take a live look at the markets right now also. The stock exchange is down 55 points right now. We're about an hour after open. It's only about 0.2% down. Fox Business is reporting that professional fund managers say the trade war is their biggest concern, but you wouldn't really know it by the performance of the U.S. equity markets right now. The S&P 500 index is trading near its all-time high level set in January, having risen 3% over the past 3 weeks. The NASDAQ Composite and Russell 2000 set intraday records last week and have booked double-digit returns so far this year. So looks like the stock market is off to an okay start so far, down a little bit, but we'll keep an eye on that as well. In other business news, a popular snack is being recalled, and some great news for Star Trek fans. Fox Business Report's Tracy Carrasco has more in today's Morning Business Outlook.
Good morning. Stocks were a little changed last week as investors wait for key earnings this week. The Dow up fractionally over that 5-day stretch. A big week for tech earnings with Google parent Alphabet, Facebook, and Amazon all due out this week. Mike Manley, who runs the Jeep SUV and Ram truck division of Fiat Chrysler, has just been named the company's new CEO. Manley replaces longtime CEO Sergio Marchionne, who is suffering from complications following a recent shoulder surgery. As a precaution, multiple Ritz cracker products, including the cracker sandwiches, are being voluntarily recalled over salmonella concerns. The manufacturer Mondelez Global says the products contain whey powder, which the whey supplier has recalled because of the salmonella risk. The products have expiration dates from January 14th through April 13th, 2019. So far, no one has gotten sick. How about an official Star Trek vodka? A small batch of 10 Forward vodka will be sent into the mesosphere using a high-altitude balloon before being blended with vodka here on Earth and then bottled. The bottle's artwork is courtesy of a Star Trek legend, Michael Okuda, a designer on the Star Trek TV series and movies since the 80s. That's business. For more, log on to foxbusiness.com. In New York, I'm Tracy Carrasco.
Updates, even chat with your favorite Fox 29 personalities. Download the app and start following now.
What is the distance around a circle called?
Circumference?
Nailed it! Yes! Hey, it's Richard Curtis here, host of the new game show coming to Fox 29, The Classroom. Who invented the telephone?
Alexander Graham Bell?
She nailed it! It's teachers versus students going head-to-head in the classroom. If you're a principal or authorized school official, here's your first homework assignment. Go to theclassroom.com to learn how you can be a part of the show. Thanks for being a part of the classroom. Gotta go.
How much are tickets to see theCUBE?
They're free.
Wait a minute. How much?
The tickets are free.
Be a part of the audience. Go to fox29.com/Q-tickets.
Bye, bye, bye.
If you love Good Day during the week, then don't miss Good Day Philadelphia weekend. News, weather, stories in your community.
Uh-oh, a sneak peek.
Check out what's happening around the area. There's only one place to be, in the know. Good Day Philadelphia weekend. Starting at 7 a.m. We go there.
All right, let's get you another look at Ultimate Doppler. You'll see rain moving back into the area after our reprieve earlier this morning. A potential breakthrough in the fight against skin cancer. Scientists say they've developed a blood test that detects melanoma. On Good Day Philadelphia this morning, we heard from an expert on how that test could affect survival rates in the future.
Sue has joined us on talking about this story, maybe a new blood test that would detect melanoma. This could be a huge breakthrough. Now, remind us of your sister, what she went through.
The reason I'm part of this segment, and we talked about this on TV before,
Yeah.
it was 2015. My sister, Anne Marie, there she is. She was diagnosed in April of 2015 with metastatic melanoma. By April, that was April, by August, she was gone.
Yeah.
But she had had a lesion back in 2011. She had had it removed, thought everything, but she went to get skin checks a couple times a year because she was susceptible. And yet still, apparently, it was there, and it was inside of her, and it was pretty shocking. So with the news of possibility of a blood test, we're very obviously interested in this.
Dr. Harold Farber is with us right now, board-certified dermatologist. Doctor, good to have you in here.
Thank you very much.
So we keep saying a simple blood test. Are we just saying to just take a vial of blood and check it?
No, so this is still in the testing stages. It'll probably be available in about 3 to 5 years.
Oh, 3 to 5.
Yeah, what this will do is it'll test for antibodies. They found that of the antibodies produced in the body against a melanoma, there are about 10 of them. And those 10, if caught, can actually predict an early melanoma.
What is melanoma? We always just say it's skin cancer.
Exactly. Melanoma is one of the deadliest types of skin cancers. It's the pigment cells that go awry and start to proliferate and spread throughout your body. The key to melanoma, early diagnosis.
Yeah.
If you remove it at an early stage, done deal. It's gone.
And so that's why this could be so game-changing if we could get this ahead of the game.
But in a case like my sister's, where you had something removed and then you kind of want to just keep up on things, would this test, if it had been in existence, have helped her? Do you think?
So bear in
for
mind
the recurrence,
this test in the studies actually caught about 80%. So 20% would be missed. But the reality is,
good odds.
but it's still better odds. If you had done this test, and this test came back positive, it would have been told you that there is a melanoma, and it would told you to keep looking.
Get that treatment
exactly
as soon as possible.
Have the area removed.
Wow. It just seems like, okay, you got this little, black thing on your skin.
Right.
How that does so much damage to your insides.
Sure. No, that's true.
It's incredible how quickly it spreads, isn't it?
It's amazing how quickly
it spreads. Does it cause, didn't Anne-Marie have a brain tumor then?
Yeah, she thought she had a sinus headache that wasn't going away. All of a sudden she had 2 brain tumors. Then they looked at the rest of her and it was everywhere.
That's from melanoma?
Correct. So the most common area, melanoma stays on the skin. It grows on the skin.
Yeah.
There's a certain point in time where it then spreads throughout the body. While you catch it while it's still localized on the skin, complete cure.
Because it go into your organs.
Correct. Once it spreads, in the most common area are areas such as your brain.
And Doctor, what's the research? Does it run in families? Does it tend to run in families?
There are risk factors. So risk factors most common is excess sun, a family history of melanoma, a personal history of melanoma. If you have a lot of pigmented lesions, greater than 100 pigmented lesions, if you have a lot of atypical appearing lesions on your body.
So this blood test could be great for somebody with all these risk factors.
The standard is still visual and a biopsy. But that you have plenty of people who have a lot of pigmented lesions, and sometimes it's very hard to know which ones to biopsy, what to look for. This test could be a game changer.
I don't
in
think
medicine.
a lot of people go to dermatologists even until they see something. Should we be going on a regular basis anyway?
The ideal is be aware, be proactive. I would strongly suggest checking at home, self-exams. If you see anything that changes, that's really important.
ABCDEs, right?
ABCDs,
watching the moles on your skin.
What's asymmetry mean?
So asymmetry, if you cut the mole in half, and one half looks different than the other half, that's a warning sign. If the border is a little bit different, if the border is splayed into the surrounding area, that's something that should be alarming. Color, it should be an even color. But if there's browns and blacks and red, varying colors, that's an ominous sign. The diameter, if it's greater than 0.6 millimeters, and 0.6 millimeters is about 1/4 of an inch, the size of a pencil eraser. That's an alarming sign.
What's evolution mean?
Evolution is change. So if the mole is changing, that's an alert. Do self-exam at home. Go to a physician who's confident.
Well, right, because you can't see the ones that are on your back.
Absolutely.
So you need somebody to watch those. Yeah.
So, Doctor, I know that you mentioned that this is still a couple of years out, this blood test, and you mentioned it's about 80% it's able to detect if there actually is.
That was the study results, yes.
So, at the rate or the way it is right now, is this something you could see you using in the future when it comes out?
In the future, it would be nice if you can increase those odds. If they look perhaps at the antibodies and increase it from 80% to 90%. That would be nicer.
Can you get melanoma on a part of your skin that wasn't exposed to the sun?
Absolutely.
That's
You
what
can get
happened to my
melanoma
sister.
on the
Yeah.
membranes behind the eye, in the vaginal area, in the anal area.
What?
You can get melanoma anywhere where there's membranes, where there's potential melanocytes or pigment cells.
Yeah, we didn't realize how much we didn't know until all this happened to our family.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, doctor.
Lots to look forward to, at least in the future.
My pleasure.
That was an important report from this morning's Good Day Philadelphia about melanoma and a blood test that could help diagnose and find cases of that disease. Of course, Sue had a very heartfelt story from her own family there to share about that. We hope that that does come to fruition, and there's a simpler method. And as the doctor mentioned, 90% detection would be fantastic. Better than the 80 I think he mentioned that they've been experiencing in testing. Let's give you another look at ultimate Doppler radar. Here's the rain filtering in the area. We've got some red and yellow coming in here, some heavier rain moving into southern Delaware. Reminder, we've got some watches and warnings in effect. These are mostly flood watches and warnings, some coastal flood advisories, I believe. But as heavy rain moves into the area, remember, don't drive through water that's standing, that's high. Make sure to take shelter if there's thunder and lightning, higher winds coming in. Let's get you a look at our weather cameras from around the region here. We'll show that to you now. All right, let's take another look at Doppler radar here. I just want to show you Allentown again. We're getting word that from the Associated Press is reporting that the National Weather Service investigators will try to determine if it's a tornado touchdown in Pennsylvania. Survey team will be out there today examining damage left behind as a severe storm moved through Allentown's Heidelberg Township suburb on Sunday. A portion of a barn roof was torn off and trees were torn down in the Lehigh County community. A firefighter posted a video which appears to show a funnel cloud forming. That's part of the reason they're going to be out there investigating that. The Weather Service confirmed 2 tornadoes struck northeast Pennsylvania last night, injuring 6 people and damaging more than a dozen businesses. Heavy downpours are possible throughout the state again today, as you'll see from Doppler radar right here. And here is another look at the watches and warnings that are in effect today. We're seeing a flood warning continues for the Brandywine Creek at Chad's Ford. That's as of 9:30 a.m. this morning. The stage was 9.5 feet. That's a half foot above flood stage, which is 9 feet. Minor flooding is occurring, and minor flooding is forecast. The National Weather Service says the river will continue rising to near 9.8 feet by late this morning. May have already done so, judging by the time there. But the river will fall below flood stage late this morning. At 10 feet, the intersection of Creek Road and Route 926 near Pocopson floods upstream of Chad's Ford, they say. Flood history, this crest compares to a previous crest of 9.8 feet back on April 3rd of 2005. So if you've lived in the area for a while, there's a benchmark to compare it to. They remind everyone, never attempt to drive through a flooded roadway. This is how most flood deaths occur. And stay tuned to developments by listening to broadcasts, weather resources, any place that can give you information about the latest flood warnings, watches, advisories, and any other information that you may need to stay safe. We do have a flash flood watch in effect for parts of Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania. That is, it appears, in effect through late tonight. So as we've mentioned, we're going to have storms continuing to move through the area today. Let's take another live look at Branson, Missouri. That's where a crane is working to try and pull up the duck boat that sank last week, resulting in 17 deaths. 31 people were on the boat when it went down. Sadly, several members, I think it was 8 members of a family, lost their lives in this tragedy. Some of the services have begun already, and investigators are out there taking a look at the scene. We've seen divers go into the water to check, probably to help hook up the crane, make sure it brings the duck boat to the surface as intact as they can. We're going to continue to keep an eye on this. Meanwhile, this is happening right now. This is a building collapse in Miami, Florida. I don't have much more information than that right now, but let's stay with this live for a little bit to see what we can glean. Looks like it's just some feedback on the chopper feed. We'll see what we can get, what information we can get you here. This is a building collapse in Miami. The source is WSVN, and we'll work to get you some information on this as we watch. Rescuers on the scene of a building collapse in Miami, Florida. Again, this is Paul Ruppel here with Fox 29 News Now in Philadelphia. We're following this video that's being provided to us by WSVN in Florida. Police and fire rescue crews have responded to a building collapse there in Miami Beach, according to WSVN. They're a Fox affiliate there in Miami. Miami Beach Police tweeted Monday morning that units are responding to the collapse. This is on the 5700 block of Collins Avenue. One person has been injured and is being taken to the hospital, and they add that the building had a permit for demolition. So we're waiting for more information here, but police said traffic is closed in the area at this time. We'll continue to provide a live feed here of the building collapse in Miami Beach, Florida. Again, Paul Ruppel here with Fox 29 News Now. We want to bring you a little bit of information about what you're watching here. This is a building collapse that occurred in Miami Beach, Florida. Police and fire crews have responded. They say that this is on the 5700 block of Collins Avenue. At least one person's been injured and taken to a hospital. Miami Beach police say that the building had a permit for demolition, so it's not clear if this building was in the process of being demolished or perhaps came down. We're awaiting more information there, and traffic is closed in the area. As you can see, lots of emergency responders in the area. See, it looks like dust and sand blown all around and onto. It does look like there were some bulldozers and backhoes working at the scene or at the scene, so it looks like it may have been an active demolition site, and the building came down. At least one person hospitalized as a result. I want to show you some footage from earlier this morning. We talked about the story a little while ago. This is a building collapse that occurred in our area, a home collapse in Hamilton Township, New Jersey. This was Sky Fox over the scene earlier this morning. Some rescues were reported at this scene. We're trying to get some more information for you. I can tell you that let's see. Our Joyce Evans will be reporting on this tonight. We're hearing at least 3 people were injured in this incident. We're working to confirm some information about other possible injuries. These you could see at the time that crews were there at the scene. They had dogs with them to help search on the pile. Amount of debris there. Let's take another shot from a little bit later. But we'll have a full report on this incident on tonight's Fox 29 News at 5. I can also tell you Jeff Cole, our Fox 29's Jeff Cole, will be reporting on the meeting that's occurring between Mayor Kenny and Rock Nation to discuss the future of Made America in Philadelphia. And he'll have a report on that at 5 o'clock tonight also. Again, this was earlier Sky Fox over the scene of a collapse in our area. This was Hamilton Township, New Jersey. We're hearing at least 3 people were injured. We're working to get more information about the extent of their injuries, and we'll have a full report on Fox 29 News at 5 tonight. Let's take you back live to Miami, Florida, Miami Beach, Florida, where there was a building collapse this morning. We're hearing this building was slated for demolition. Looks like it may have been in the process of being demolished. And it looks like they're catching a boat riding through the area there in Miami Beach. Just panned away from the scene. There we go. We're back to the collapse scene in Miami Beach, Florida, where at least one person's been hospitalized. We'll stay with this for a little bit. it looks like WSVN's chopper is headed away from that scene. Again, thanks to WSVN in Florida for providing that feed. Our Fox affiliate there, of a building collapse in Miami Beach, Florida, where at least one person's been injured. Let's take you now to Branson, Missouri, where a crane is still working to try and bring up the duck boat that sank in last week's tragic death of 17 people. Duck boat was out in the storm and sank. Had 31 people on board. Unfortunately, 17 of them lost their lives. Multiple members of one family perished in this incident. NTSB is investigating. Some vigils and services are starting to be held for some of the victims. Let's stay with this for a little bit. I'm going to take you now to a live over a scene of a disabled train. Let's get you a little more information here about that. Sorry, that's the wrong video there. Let's get you the right video. Let's get you the right shot here. There we go. This is a disabled train in Princeton, New Jersey. We're hearing there may have been a fire in a New Jersey Transit train. Fire companies are at the scene there with a fire in a locomotive. This is Sky Fox over the scene right now, live. We're going to work to get you some more information. All right, New Jersey Transit is reporting that Northeast Corridor line service was suspended in both directions between Trenton and Metro Park due to this fire department activity at Princeton Junction. It was affecting train 3836. It appears that Northeast Corridor line service has resumed in both directions as of 7 minutes ago, so a couple minutes after 11, and there you see a train pulling into the shot right above. Service has resumed in both directions between Trenton and Metro Park, but service is subject to 30-minute delays due to the fire department activity, which appears to be ongoing at Princeton Junction. Eastbound trains will bypass Hamilton and Princeton Junction. Customers at Hamilton and Princeton Junction may take a westbound train to Trenton for eastbound service. That's according to New Jersey Transit's Twitter feed. They're calling it, in response to some customers, a smoke condition that occurred on the train there. This is New Jersey Transit. Looks like the locomotive is number 4637. But New Jersey Transit is identifying it as train number 3836. That's the route number, I assume. And they're saying there was a smoke condition in the locomotive. Looks like they are still there at the scene. Northeast Corridor service was shut down for a time. It appears to be back up and running. We'll stay with this shot for a little bit to get you any new information that comes in. Again, you've been watching a disabled New Jersey Transit train at Princeton Junction, New Jersey. We're told the Northeast Corridor service has resumed. It was stopped for a while near Trenton and Metro Park. It is contributing to 30-minute delays, so if you're watching and headed out on New Jersey Transit or on a train right now, be advised that you could have some delays, but the Northeast Corridor is back open in that area, and you should be moving soon. It sounds like a light smoke condition, fire of some kind in a locomotive on New Jersey Transit at Princeton Junction contributed to that situation. Let's take you back to Branson, Missouri, where it looks like the submerged duck boat has been brought to the surface. Again, that appears to be the duck boat that sank last week in Branson, Missouri, resulting in 17 deaths. 31 folks were on board that boat. A crane has been working to bring it back to the surface. They've had divers going into the water as well. You can see some of the life vests at the top of the craft there. Some of the folks who had been on board and the survivors of this incident said that they were advised that they wouldn't need the life preservers. Of course, all this is going to be investigated by the National Transportation Safety Board, and they're going to work to get the exact facts and exactly what went wrong here and work to try and prevent this kind of tragedy from happening again. This is Branson, Missouri. A crane has brought the duck boat to the surface after the tragedy that resulted in 17 deaths last year. It looks like WSVN is still over the scene of a building collapse. This was a building that was slated for demolition in Miami Beach, Florida. We're hearing at least one person has been sent to the hospital there. I'm going to work to try and get you some new information and check in to make sure we have the latest here. It looks like Miami Beach police have recently tweeted that the building had a demolition permit, not an implosion permit. And as of right now, they have just that one person injured who has been transported to a hospital. again, you've been looking at the scene of a building collapse in Miami Beach, Florida. It appears a demolition permit had been issued for the site. At least one person's been taken to a hospital. Officials do believe everyone else has been accounted for. That's good news from the scene there in Miami Beach. That's according to a reporter with WSVN, which has been kind enough to share their video with us here, affiliate in Florida. Again, a permit had been issued for demolition, but not implosion, according to Miami Beach Police. And emergency responders are still at the scene. Let's take you back to Branson, Missouri, where it appears the duck boat has been brought to the surface. want to quickly take you back to the scene in Miami Beach, Florida. It appears a rescue of some kind has been made. This looks like it's an ocean rescue team. We'll work to get some more information here about what happened. This appears to be a long distance from the collapse site. That was somebody being whisked away on a ocean rescue four-wheeler being taken from the scene there. A reporter with WSVN in South Florida says that one injury has been confirmed. They believe everyone else is accounted for, but they're bringing in dogs to check the rubble, help emergency responders search for anyone else who might be trapped there, although they do think they've gotten everyone accounted for. Not sure what that rescue was that just occurred. Ocean rescue team taking someone away on a cart there.
And let's give you one more live look
at the duck boat, the submerged duck boat that was part of the tragedy that occurred in Branson, Missouri last week. 17 people killed, 31 people had been on the boat. Investigation is underway as to the cause. Of course, there was a storm that occurred while the boat was out on the water, and it appeared the boat, from some of the viewer footage that's been submitted, took on water and was having difficulty in the storm. That boat, a crane has brought that boat to the surface this morning. Divers were working with the crane to get it hooked up and brought back to the surface. And you can see it's now atop the water in Branson, Missouri again. Sure, it will be an important part of the investigation into the root cause of the tragedy. We're going to sign off for now. This is Fox 29 News Now in Philadelphia. I'm Paul Ruppel. I'm the digital media manager here. Thank you for staying with us and watching our footage of some different live feeds coming into the area. Of course, we've been following the Branson, Missouri tragedy, the duck boat being brought to the surface, the building collapse in Miami Beach, Florida, building collapse in our own area, and please do keep an eye out on the sky today for some storms. Flood watches and flood warnings are still in effect today. You can see a cell of heavier rain moving up its way through Delaware right now. So keep an eye out and don't drive through any rainwater that's ponded on roads, started to get higher. Turn around, don't drown. That's what officials often say. Thank you for watching Fox 29 News Now.